Hi, my name is Sarah Bentley Pearson, and I am excited to share my podcast, which features wonderful talent that I've been so lucky to discover in the Southeast. This was born out of a list that I created in 2015 called Sarah's List. And through my work in real estate, which I've been doing since 2005, and styling work, and just my personal life and my personal interests, I've been able to meet so many wonderful people, and I'm excited to share them with you. So, Susan, like you're somebody in the fashion industry in Atlanta who's really a standout for sure. Like you're very avant garde. And I would say that now that Jeffrey is gone, you're kind of the only independent boutique that, in my opinion, has kind of a global point of view. So thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've always loved your store. Your buy is a little different than, you know, you're very into like loose things and very avant-garde and it looks so good on you. And I have some pieces that I've bought from you that are like very special to me. You have a very unique eye, but you do have a like very distinctive sensibility. Can you tell me about that and your store and what your vision is and how you came up with that?
Well, we started 30 years ago now. So it was always about bringing something different to Atlanta that wasn't here. That's how it all started. Grew up here, wasn't from here, but grew up here and wanted to have that edginess that Atlanta wasn't really represented
Mhm.
with then. And so I think our biggest accomplishment has been the curation of designers that we've gotten. It's people walk in and they'll say, "Wow, I mean, that what you have in here is I've seen these designers before, but I've never seen them represented this way." So that's that's what we wanted. We wanted to bring something different here to Atlanta and have people have access to it, but also it's informational. I mean, we really work closely with our clients, so we really tried to develop friendships and relationships with the designers and the consumer. We're
So
teaching them.
yeah, and also I'm sure when you're meeting with the designers, those customers are in mind and what they're looking for and their sensibility. It seems like the things that I've bought from your store, I'm I'm learning to buy more head to toe as
Mhm,
I get older, or at least to have a cohesive look, but I am sort of the type of person that buys piecey things. I just
mhm,
throw them all together and
mhm,
somehow it works for me. But I really think that you have an interesting eye. And I bought that scarf line from Italy, and like the
mhm.
name is for
Baleo
escape.
Sarti.
Yes. Um, that scarf that I bought from you, I wore so much that it became shreds. And then I went to Italy a few years ago and I bought some more, but it wasn't quite the same as the one I bought from you. And I've
Right.
bought hats and I bought rings and some shoes here and
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
And one thing I like about your store also is it really has like not the department store feel or even like a crazy loud place. It's like going into somebody's home
Mhm,
almost. It has a very soft, warm feel. And, I love how, but it is very high fashion and
mhm.
curated. And is your customer usually a working woman? What is the profile? Or
You
does
know
it?
what? We have both
Hmm.
because we do have a lot of very prominent working businesswomen, owners of companies. But we also have that woman in Atlanta that just chairs a lot of events, and then we have now we're developing the ones who are the daughters of those women too, that have finally gotten to a stage in life where they understand quality over quantity, and it's a huge thing. I mean, my most important thing when people come in and they say, "Oh my gosh, I've had that piece for 20 years," sort of like you were just
Hmm.
alluding to,
Hmm.
there's special pieces that we
Hmm.
want people to hold on to and be something in their closet that they go to make it more interesting. And just yesterday I had somebody saying that, "Oh my gosh, I had Phoebe Philo was doing a story on that she wants pieces in her collection that are wearable for 20 years, and she had on a Stella McCartney jacket that was over 15 years old, and
Did you read the article about her in the New York Times?
that's what we were discussing.
Yes. And,
Yes, and
um, that has always been my point of view. I think
Mhm.
once I came into your store and you complimented me on a top that I actually bought at H&M because
Yeah.
it was such good design,
Right.
and I don't object to that
Mhm.
as as a throw in, but in
Right.
general, I believe in clothes should be quality, and as I've gotten older, I really don't even enter those fast fashion stores
Right.
anymore because the sensibility just isn't in alignment with me. But I think Phoebe Philo, like, I that she's also kind of like Kate, as we
Mhm.
were talking about
Mhm.
earlier, and, you know,
Kate is a young version of her,
yeah.
actually. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and I mean, the problem, Atlanta is labely, as I'm sitting here in my loafers with the V's on them, and I can be kind of labely, but there was an article in the New York Times about Kate also that, you know, real real money and real fashion
Mhm.
is kind of moving away from that.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think she doesn't really label much of anything. I mean,
Mhm.
if you see Kate on something, it's very
It's like tiny, it's
minuscule.
just on
Yeah,
like
it's
a
like
little
it's her name, and I
yeah.
love it. I
Mhm.
love that about it. We had that same thing. We've carried Stella McCartney since the inception of it because Stella was actually with Chloe when we had Chloe, and as well as we had Phoebe Philo when she was with Chloe. So we carry people for a very long time because we want this relationship with the designer as much as we want it with our customer
Mhm.
too. So, the label part, Stella went through a stage where that was high fashion. It was everybody had their name everywhere, and I kept saying, "Please take the name off. Please take the name off." And you'll see even with her, it's diminishing. It's not as prominent as it used to be. She's come up with a new logo that's a little bit more obscure, which I love that. Because I don't want to wear something either. I think that comes with our age too, where the younger people maybe feel differently about it, but I
Well,
worry that the younger people are gonna look back and say, "Oh my gosh, I only wore workout clothes," because they look so good in it, they can pull it off, but
no, I mean, I would say my favorite era of fashion is the '70s from watching my mother
Yes,
wear Yves Saint Laurent and Pucci, and,
yes, yeah,
she really had that sensibility, and I don't I I think maybe there were some labels on a few things,
mhm,
like the Gucci bags would have the G
right,
on the hardware or something, but now it's gotten kind of silly, and
mhm.
what's your opinion about what's happening with Balenciaga?
Well, that's a little bit I was very disappointed what happened
Yeah.
with that because I liked Balenciaga, I mean, I really did,
They used to make
but
the best pants
mhm, yeah,
and the
but
best fitting pants, and now it's so labely and weird.
yes, well, and then everything else controversial that it went through, I think it hurt it a
Mhm,
lot, and,
mhm.
I mean, you really don't even see it represented in the magazines anymore or editorially or, um, I think they did good things, but time will tell, I guess.
What's good what do you think I mean, what do you think's happening with fashion? Do you think it's gonna come back to
I find fashion for my clients is still very important and it's very dressed. It's very woman. I think you're finding powerful women in suits again, which I love. But yet there's the feminine side thrown in. I like the freedom to mix patterns and colors, and it doesn't have to be it's not the business suit that it used to be, obviously. I mean, the Kate suit that's in our window right now is it's a menswear jacket with a leather collar, but it's also extremely tailored and would go to a boardroom meeting in a minute. So,
well, I think I like that kind of dressing too, where you
mhm,
can take something very classic and you can make it much more traditional if
right,
needed, and then, I think a lot of I always, when I've done some styling work, people ask me, like, I think fashion is a lot of times really in your accessories and the
right,
clothing should be more quiet.
right.
But, you know, eh
But it's all about a piece too. Like
mhm.
that suit in particular, that jacket looks phenomenal with the pant that goes with it, but it's gonna be a piece that transfers over to denim, but then you wear it on over an evening gown too. So
Mm.
we really, really try and educate our customer that way to move their piece. Like